This episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L. Contact us today to learn how you can be a part of the vibration experience. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vibration, where we empower individuals to speak their distinct truth, passions, and personal message on a global online stage. I'm your host, Michelle McDonald, passionate author, speaker, and entrepreneur. And today is a very special day as we have our first ever Caribbean guest outside of the Bahamas in connection with our theme, Faces of the Caribbean, Representation Matters. So all the way from Guyana, live is Diana Luke King with the topic, the empowerment of Guyanese women through art. Our guest, Diana Luke King, is a Guyanese self-taught artist. Her love for arts and crafts stems from her family business, which has over 40 years experience in the craft sector, with her father as the president of the Guyana Craft and Arts Association. Her passion as a creative lead led to the birth of the Daniela Collection, a collection of artworks and craft items manufactured, sourced, and marketed as a means of preserving the Guyanese culture. Diana completed her Bachelor of Science degree in social work from the University of Guyana. During her term, she conducted various art and craft workshops for adults and children in marginalized locations as a means of boosting socioeconomic development. Her time at the university also fostered her interest in fundraising and lobbying for the women and children of the hinterland communities in Guyana for over 10 years. Diana was also the Guyana Cultural Association of New York awardee for 2022. Diana, we welcome you to the stage tonight.
Thank you.
So we are so excited because the incredible thing about the Caribbean is that there are so many different islands and countries. And when we come together, we realize how many similarities we have, the things that we celebrate that really add to our culture overall. So in knowing that you are connected with the arts and crafts sector for over 40 years, tell us about your family's business and how that not only shaped your passion for art, but also using it as a tool for impact.
Okay, well, we have been in craft, as you said, over 40 years. So this all started with my dad. He is a leather craftsman, so he's made bags, belts, motor racing suits, you name it, he's probably made it out of leather before. So it started initially with him doing exhibitions and wanting to get his craft out there. And in the 80s, he had his first physical location at a hotel in Georgetown. Later on in 95, that's when he helped found the Craft and Arts Association, when they could petition for an actual location or spot of their own to sell their craft items. So fast forward 28 years later, the Hibiscus Craft Plaza is the only craft market that we have in Guyana to date.
Wow.
So still going strong. So you asked what shaped my passion. I think that was just basic childlike curiosity, because growing up within craft and watching him create something from a very small age, you wanted to do that yourself. You wanted to create something with your own two hands. So I think that had a really big role to play for me, as well as seeing him make something from scratch, from beginning to end. It really sparked a great appreciation for the time and the work that went into any product that he made. So it was kind of understanding the person behind the actual item.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding the story behind a bag or a wallet was also his way of dedicating his life towards putting us in a better position, I would say. So moving us out of where we were in life to somewhere good. um, Craft is also, I've grown up with it. So it's kind of shaped everything that I've ever known. So it's also a way that we can meet new people because we've met a lot of people in different corners of Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we provide them with a place to sell their work, somewhere that they could showcase their talent to like a wider market and hopefully help them move out of any socioeconomic difficulties that they might face. So how that impacted my life or any person is to just fully understand the story behind an item.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, a TB basket, I did bring one to show you guys.
Oh,
So this is
awesome.
this is what it looks like. So it's very
Wow.
this is just from the TB series.
Mm-hmm.
TB series is made from the Ite palm tree here in Guyana. So they're dried leaves of the Ite palm tree. So they are stripped, it's boiled, it's sun dried. Sometimes they even dye them to get different colors. So this is the TB series. This is the white part, but they also use the husk, which is the brown part. And there's the next one here. It's a
Oh,
little bit
very
darker,
nice.
so you get to see the husk in that one. But to fully understand a TB series basket, you have to understand the maker of it. So they're
Mm-hmm.
made mainly by our indigenous people of Guyana, the Amerindians. And they first fled the coastline to head into the highland region when the British first came here. So their main form of sustenance was from the land itself. So mainly in that area, you get the Ite palm. So you use the straw to make household items. You can make clothing out of it. They use it for various reasons. We also spoke about straw in the Bahamas.
Yes,
Didn't realize
yes.
that was such a big thing there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that. I love the fact that, different countries, and yet there's something that connects us, and yet something that is so deep and
Yeah,
profound. Because for me, I grew up with my grandmother, and she would make little straw handbags, dolls,
yeah.
baskets. And you're young, you're just listening to your grandmother, and she's like,
Mhm.
okay, time to get the colored wrapper and just, open it up with your fingers, and you have your little fingers doing the work, and you don't really understand the history or the
Yeah,
cultural connection. And as you stated, when you grow up around that type of environment, it just connects with you.
yeah,
And you take it with you wherever you go. And so I just love the fact that that's something that Guyana and the Bahamas share.
yeah. But I think, as you said, you heard your grandma doing it and seeing it around her. I think for us, it's the same way. It's usually the elder women teaching the younger girls, um, using the straw as a way of sustaining themselves.
Hmm.
So to this day, I think currently a lot of people are moving away from it.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the problem that we're having. And they're deviating it away from the craft and arts. And the culture is also being dissolved that way in the name of modernization.
Yeah.
So we're losing the culture in that aspect as well too, because for example, we are doing a lot of construction in Guyana right now. So every woodworker construction person, that's less wood sculptures. I've had somebody who used to provide us with some really intricate wood sculptures. He no longer does it.
Oh
because, yes,
no.
he's a full-time carpenter now, so no more sculptures. And also in the gold mining industry,
Mm.
they head towards gold mining instead of the craft of creating bows or arrows and stuff like that. So everybody is just losing generations of craftsmanship now. You know,
Yeah.
it's how do we move past that? Soon there won't be enough teachers to really pass down that trait.
Yeah, that is definitely another thing that we have going here in the Bahamas. And it's so interesting how you showed that shift because we don't
Yeah.
really think about it, right? The way we look at it is, there's a new project coming on that involves construction, and
Hmm.
we just hear that it's going to provide, 100 or
Yeah.
200 jobs. And we're thinking, okay, this is boosting the economy. We're keeping the money within the country. This is a good thing. More people are going to have jobs.
Yeah.
But we don't think about the shift from
No.
a craft sector, from a part of our history, our culture, the type of work that connects very deeply to who we are and where we're from, and losing that to another sector. Like you don't,
Yeah.
most people don't think about it that way. And I really like the fact that you pointed that out because now it really helps us to understand how things move so quickly.
Yeah. I think a next example, or at least in Guyana's side, would be balata. I don't know if you've ever heard about that.
It sounds familiar.
Balata, it's like natural latex or wild rubber, they call it. So they get it from
Mm,
bleeding the balata trees. So
okay.
it's basically the sap from the bulletwood tree. Yes,
Yes.
they bleed the trees. And I would say a really long time ago, probably 100 plus years, I'm not certain, but we used to provide balata for car tires, for shoe soles.
Mm,
This was before synthetic rubber really came out, and everybody in the Rupununi, that's all they did. They were just balata bleeders. But the market went down. So they
mm.
didn't have as much balata bleeders anymore. They just kind of went away from that craft. But now we see these little balata figurines on the market.
Oh, nice.
So this is how it has been brought back in today's society. So we may not have shoe soles out of balata anymore, but they still found a way to keep the trait alive, even though it's not as, what to say, prominent as it was before, because everybody in that region, they were balata bleeders. Now you probably only have a handful of them left that could do
Wow.
the craft.
Yeah, what a difference.
Yeah,
For us, we feel it mostly when it comes to straw work.
yeah.
So a lot of the elders, they know this craft like the back of their hand.
Hmm.
I remember I had an experience about 5 years ago. I went to a local hotel to see what it is exactly that they offer the tourists, to take a look into, are you expressing our culture? Are you really giving them like the Bahamian experience? Are they
Yeah,
connecting with who we are and what we do? And I was pleasantly surprised to see that they had a straw plaiting class. And
yeah.
so I was actually able to sit in that, plait
Brought
my
back a
own.
lot of
And
memories,
I
right?
felt so proud, to be able to do that. Um, and the thing is, the reality of it is a lot more of the women, primarily
Hmm.
16 up, they know all of the skills that it takes to make all
Yeah.
of these different patterns and designs. And the women who are younger than that, for the most part, if they don't have a straw business, which is also very popular here, um,
Hmm.
they're completely unfamiliar. They can
Yeah.
see the product, they can appreciate it for what it is, but as you stated, there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
And for some of us, we really don't know the story behind straw work. We don't know the story behind the creator.
Yeah.
And just how far that even goes, generations and generations,
Hmm.
not just the person who's creating it now. And so we are losing that. And I know that there are some sectors that are doing their best to keep it going. So they
Yeah.
started up classes and encouraging persons to,
That's a great initiative.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
usually here, if that's just passed down intergenerationally, you get your grandmother teaching the younger ones it, and a lot of the younger ones don't necessarily want to learn it. They don't find it necessary to, but one day it's going to eventually go away.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's so sad to think about because you
Yeah.
you grew it up with it, and you think about your kids or your grandkids or your great grandkids,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sad to think that at some point you could start talking about it or show them a picture, and they're lost. Like
Yeah.
this is a new story. Like they don't know where straw comes from. The items that you showed us,
Yeah.
it's scary to think that at one point, like when you show it to them, it could be few and far between to be able to find something else that looks like that and is
Yeah.
handcrafted in Guyana.
Yeah. So, being at the storefront every day, I'm there every day. Um,
Dedicated.
yes, we get a lot of people showing me photos of something that they got from Guyana probably
Mm,
5, 10 years ago,
wow.
and you don't find them on the market anymore.
Mm,
So, for example, there is a vase that's done with different local hardwoods all pasted together. You don't get that anymore. They don't pass the trade down, so the craft just dies with them.
wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you come looking for that item, chances are you probably won't find it back. So,
Oh, that's such a shame. But the beauty of it is that you're here and you are so committed to keeping that culture going and empowering these women through craft, being able to share their story. And when persons purchase their craft, it's like you take a piece of them in a good way.
yeah.
You know that you're adding to something that's purposeful. And so it's good that other people can be a part of that, and they themselves can grow from this
Hmm.
experience. It just shows the many layers of art that we don't think about, but it's so so powerful.
Yeah.
So when you were in the University of Guyana, because I know we've already spoken about how exactly you have the women connected to art and how exactly it's connected to you, but what was the spark during your term at the University of Guyana that got you thinking about creating something that would have a socio-economic boost?
Okay, so I completed UG in 2016. So mainly the main part of my curriculum was fieldwork. And
Okay.
it almost always included positively impacting an impoverished community in Region 4, which is our coastal area. And at that time, I was also doing a lot of traveling just for tourism purposes to our highland region. And when you got there, you really realized how out of bounds the areas were because the terrain it's impassable. You can get there by plane, but the
Whoa.
cost is quite high. You can get there by road, but it's mountainous. It's very dangerous terrain to traverse in. And when it's the rainy season, you can't go through the road at all because it's just mud. So by going to those areas during that time that I was at UG, it really just incorporated social work and field work right within it.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw how a lot of the places in Region 4, they might be getting help from people on the coastline, but nobody in the hinterland had somebody to advocate for them to say, hey, they need this. They don't have full access the way people in Region 4 does. So I think that's what just kind of sparked the idea and the need to help. So, yeah, just being there.
Wow. Diana, I applaud you for that. The fact that you went there, you were able to connect with their experience,
Yeah.
and you had a vision of what more they can have access to,
Yeah.
and you wanted to be a part of that, and you were able to take something that is so near and dear to your heart, which is art and family, and you were able to create a community with them.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how inspiring that must have been for some of those women to see themselves outside of their normal environment, kind of knowing that there is hope, there is more than what they've been experiencing for a long time.
Yeah.
So, of course, we have to know about the Daniela collection. It has such bold, vibrant pieces that is hanging up on the walls around the world: London, New York,
Yeah.
China, Portugal, amazing places, so many different clients. What exactly was the inspiration behind that? You establishing that collection and inviting the culture into it as well, because I can see a lot of women represented through the work.
Yeah. Okay. So initially, the collection was just a collection of my artworks. It's meant to portray the various ethnicities that we have here in Guyana and their culture and
Awesome.
how we fit into Guyanese society today. So over the years, it kind of also shifted a little bit. So it's more of crafts as well too, but also my personal touch to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of me in all of it. Um, but hopefully the collection helps to provide a narrative and a great appreciation and pride of our different cultures in Guyana and how we in today's society should attempt to
Mm-hmm.
embrace our varying cultures, our history, our language, and what it means to be a Guyanese.
Absolutely. I think that that certainly happens. I feel as though your collection, you placing a part of you into each piece and also representing the different ethnicities really connects with the theme right now, which is representation matters, faces of the Caribbean. And for you,
Yeah,
it's almost like faces of
I
Guyana,
know
being able
exactly.
to see yourself in each piece and know that you belong somewhere, and that's not just a type of yearning that a person has in any particular country. That's all of us, you
Yeah,
know, wanting to be able to look at something and say, you know, this is me, I'm proud, I feel seen, I feel acknowledged. And you know, from the pieces that I've seen from your work, you're absolutely doing that, and I can only imagine that others looking at that would feel like I see myself for the first time. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I've had a couple of my customers when they come in and they see the piece, it's like this actually looks like me,
Yes.
you know? So all of the pieces, they have their own home. So even if it's there, even if somebody might not like it, somebody else comes and falls absolutely in love with it. So that's meant for that person.
Absolutely. And I actually really like the fact that even though your pieces are sold, you still keep them on your site,
Yes.
you know? Because, I mean, not only does it absolutely show your talent and your skill that you have through art, but also it creates like how do I say, almost like an overall masterpiece of Guyana in a sense through your
Yeah.
work. So you can still like look back to something that was done maybe
Yeah,
years
the
ago.
idea behind the collection, that's why I kind of kept them all together on the page. I would do maybe like a series of six, but I would hang them all together. So when you come and you look at it, it's very difficult to break them apart,
Oh.
but they're all individual pieces. They all have their own meaning,
Hmm.
but together, collectively, and what they represent as a whole, it's just complete.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I really think that that's something that your clients and those that view your art sense right away. As you
Yeah.
stated, they see those six pieces together and they're like, there's no way I can, I must buy them all because they all connect in some way. It's almost like in a way that you can't quite describe,
Yeah.
but you know that like these belong together. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's really awesome. I really, really wanted to say that you lobbying for over 10 years for the women and children of the hinterland community is absolutely noteworthy. It really shows your passion, your compassion, how much you care, and how much you want for others. And, that's not something that just comes naturally. It just really shows where your heart is. And I wanted to know, although you've told us already, quite through the story that you mentioned, was there another reason why these women stood out? I know you mentioned that they didn't have access to certain things, weather played a part, access to the area played a
Yeah.
part. Was there another reason that kind of really stuck with you and made you think, I really have to show my presence here, or this is perhaps one of the ways that I want to show and start a mission?
Um, so one year I went to one of the villages and I met this lady and we were just sitting having a conversation and I realized that every year, because I've been going for about 10 years now, I didn't go this year, but every year that I went there, she had a new baby.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I'm talking 12 plus kids, no help. So sitting there and connecting with the person that's telling you all of their struggles and how hard it is being that far in and not having enough help. As you said, it doesn't come naturally, but it does. To feel a sense of humanity,
Yes.
to want to help somebody in that situation any way that you know how to or any way that you can,
Mhm.
because every little bit helps.
Absolutely. Another thing I like from what you stated, it's almost like you were able to put yourself in her position,
Yeah.
although you are two different women, and you were able to be empathetic and just want to be there for her,
Yeah.
you know? And that's incredible. I know that you have been such a gift to them. You have done so much for your culture. I know this is something that you're going to continue to do, and over 10 years is extraordinary, to be so consistent and so connected to what you do. Um, so, class, I applaud you for that. I don't even have to say keep going. I know that you will.
Yes.
You'll be hearing a lot more about Diana and her work. But yeah, you've done something amazing with them, and I know they think about that every time they do their art, and I know that that's something too that the persons that see their art are able to connect in. It's
Yeah.
almost like when you walk into a room, you can kind of sense a difference.
Yeah.
So they just kind of walk in, and it's just this presence of just love, community, family, women,
Yeah.
feminine energy, as everyone likes to
Yes.
say all the time. And, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to have and to celebrate.
Mhm.
That's one of the things as well, that it really provides such a sense of women's empowerment in so
Yeah.
many different ways. Um, and that's awesome, because I think sometimes when persons hear women's empowerment, they kind of always feel like it has to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Someone's like, okay, we're fighting for this, we're standing strong for this, and it kind of comes off like a bit harsh.
Yeah.
But there are times when it can be very inviting, very engulfing, very soft, and just family like, and still have the same effect,
Yeah.
or even more. And so it's really good to be able to kind of see that at work. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. Congratulations again on winning that award last year, the Guyana Cultural Association of New York. How did it feel to have this achievement?
I was very surprised, and to be very, I'll share with you the story of how it actually happened. Um, I was actually at my storefront. That's where I do most of my painting. So a customer was just walking in and saw me painting because it usually doesn't bother me if somebody's looking if I'm painting. And at that time, I was doing a piece with our national symbols. So our national bird, our national animal, and our national flower all together as a combination. And he saw it and he just said, you know what, I'm going to put you up for an award. And this was the strangest thing I've ever heard. So I'm just like, okay, I didn't pay any attention to it, any mind to it. I'm just like, okay, sure. And then I got the email. So it was shocking to see that it was actually true, but very proud moment, I would like to say, because my dad, how the Craft and Arts Association came about that he shared with me, he won an award and it was presented to him by the Prime Minister at that time. And
Wow.
that's how he really sparked the conversation that we need an actual physical location to sell our work, you know? And that's how the Craft and Arts Association came about. That's how come the Hibiscus Plaza is in existence today, because of that one award. So hopefully some doors are open because of it. But yeah,
Absolutely.
that was it.
Yeah. I really think there will be. It really shows from everything that you've mentioned that your dad has made much more than just a mark. Like he
Yeah.
has created a pathway for art to be seen, more than just a celebration, but more of an embracing of arts and crafts that are indigenous of Guyana and
Mm-hmm.
allowing person to feel proud of that, not just kind of feel like, okay, I'm just creating something at home. I'm just, doing a little doodling at school. It's just kind of understanding like I can connect
Yeah.
to others through my work and I'm also, making my country proud and there's a piece of me in there and, a little bit of history, a little bit of culture. And so that's awesome, that he was able to do that. And of course, through the work that you're doing, you're able to pass that on as well, but in a different way
Yes.
that helps a certain sector that really needed it. And so
Yeah.
it's really good. Yeah. So with everything that we said, we know that you're continuing to do amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
Can you let us know what's next for you? What can we expect? How can we support the Daniela collection?
Okay, so hopefully, my pieces can be seen all across the world, but that's mainly from people that just visit here and they want to take it home with them. So hopefully, I'm trying to set up international shipping
Awesome.
and hopefully some limited prints because every painting on my page that you said it's just sold and people want an original piece of art, but they also get really attached to some of them that they see on the page. So hopefully I'll be having some prints soon as well too. So it could be for anybody. It doesn't have to be a big piece. It doesn't have to be something that you can lug home with you. So you could get it.
Okay, awesome. I know a lot of people are excited to hear that, especially once they see your work,
Yeah.
knowing that, okay, it might be sold, but I can get a print. I can
Yeah.
get a copy of that and I can have a piece of Guyana at home with me.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Diana, I don't even have to tell you this, but I will. You are doing remarkable, incredible work within the community, especially for the women and children of the hinterland community in Guyana. You are being able to pass on history and culture through art, allowing persons to change their perspective of what art means. It's more than just colors and images and sketches. It's pieces of a person's story. is pieces of a country, and with your Daniela collection, a part of your heart, the heart that you put into everything that you do. Um, we thank you for everything that you've committed to do, the lives that you've changed, the beautiful art that you've created. And I really thoroughly appreciate you being on the show today to
Thank
really
you.
showcase, what's happening in Guyana, hearing these types of stories in the Caribbean. It just makes my heart sing. There's so many messages out there that need to be shared. And so I really appreciate the fact that you're able to share yours today with
Thank
us.
you for having me.
My pleasure. So, of course, we are looking forward to the international shipping because we really want to show our support. Of course, another way that we can do that is to follow the Daniela collection on Instagram. So it's at the Daniela collection
Yeah.
on Instagram. You can see all of those pieces, all of the places around the world. It's going global
Yes.
where they're at, but also keep in mind that you can get a part of that as well. And the next time you go to Guyana, you can look out for these pieces and, support a community, support a movement, support change, culture, and history. So that's absolutely awesome. And of course, there's also crafts at Eddie's Crafts GY. That's also on
Yes.
Instagram. And that's also another way that you can show your support and see a lot of the locally made, manufactured, and sourced crafts in Guyana. Support our Caribbean country. As a reminder, this episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L. If you're just tuning in, you can watch the full episode on my page, Authentically Michelle, on Facebook and also YouTube. We thank everyone for joining. And of course, Diana Luke King, who is an incredible change maker. I know that she has so much more in store. She has done such a fantastic job already. And we encourage her and we support her. I support you 110%.
Thank you.
Tune in next week for another episode of Vibration, where we raise your frequency and amplify your truth. Bye, everyone.